What's up, guys? I've got a great one for you today. Today, we're going to be looking at weed and sex, three of my favorite topics. Today, we're going to kind of do it highlight reel style. I was going to do a longer video on this, but not everyone likes the long play, so we're just going to skip the foreplay, jump right into it, slam, bam. Well, you're welcome, right? Okay, cool. So, the influence of cannabis on sexual function, written by Amanda Moser out of East Carolina University and founder of Weed Love Sex, LLC. So, this was published in the Journal of Cannabis Research in 2023. And the purpose of this study was to examine the effect of cannabis on sexual function and sexual satisfaction. Important to sort of look at those separately and together, because sexual function looks at the physiologic processes involved with sex, such as desire, excitement, orgasm, plateau, and resolution. All right. Those are the phases of the sexual response cycle put forth by none other than Masters and Johnson. Including the sexual satisfaction portion, looks at the subjective experience as rated by the user or users, participants, okay? How much they enjoyed the whole experience of the lay, right? This study also looked at the sensual aspects of how cannabis might influence sex. Sensual meaning our senses, effect on the sexual function and sexual satisfaction. So she wanted to fill that void by doing this study. So here's some of the rundown of this study. All right. There were 811 participants in this study, ranging from 18 to 35, with a mean of 32 years, 65% female, 79% white, 80% college educated, 23% LGBTQIA, and 74% reported being in a monogamous relationship. Now, I did forget to mention this study did introduce a novel concept to me. This study aimed to address closing the orgasm gap in our society, the orgasm inequality gap, meaning men experience orgasms more regularly and predictably than women. That's what this study puts forth. That's the claim put forth by this study. And they referenced Lori Mintz's book, Becoming Clitorate, right? And I'll post a link to that as well. And Becoming Clitorate put forth this idea of closing the orgasm inequality gap. And what Dr. Mintz aimed to address was 90% of men achieve an orgasm, usually with a sexual experience. 50% of women achieve an orgasm, usually when having sex. And only 6% of women always achieve an orgasm. So that's what this study aimed to address, and to really see if cannabis could have an impact on increasing this orgasm frequency in women. So that caught my eye. Other aim of this study was to address and possibly dispel certain myths that are associated with cannabis and sex. For example, the running assumption before, or I guess currently, is that using cannabis for men using cannabis prior to sex can induce, let's just say, impotence or reduced sexual potency in their penis. So she wanted to address that and see if that was true. All right. And she also wanted to see if using cannabis, women using cannabis, if this could increase their desire, increase their relaxation level, and in doing so, increase their orgasm frequency and intensity. And she also wanted to take a look at if women have sexual dysfunction, what's called dyspareunia, pain with sex, or vaginismus, which is involuntary contraction of the vagina. Seeing if cannabis could address those things and be a possible therapeutic option. Boom. So here's the results. Here's what they found from this study. 70% of participants reported an increase in desire and orgasm intensity, regardless of gender. Okay, regardless also of sexual orientation. So these things didn't really have an effect on orgasm intensity or desire. As well, what they found was, as far as men go, Men did not report increased difficulty in achieving or maintaining an erection. Now, she did throw some shade at this idea. She threw shade a couple of times, also known as boner lie. All right. She said men might have underreported difficulties with getting an erection. All right. That's per her study, per her, I guess, assumption. All right. So the men didn't report any difficulties in getting an erection, but she says they could have been lying. What they found was 88% of the participants admitted to masturbating, so a 12% lie rate. So of those that reported masturbating, 68% reported that they use cannabis in this purpose to heighten the effect of it, and reported increased pleasure while masturbating under the influence of cannabis. Hopefully they smoked or used whatever before, because you don't want to burn yourself with a joint while you're having a crank at it. All right. So caution when rubbing one out. As well, women also reported increased desire and increased relaxation when using cannabis prior to sex. So some good results there as far as ladies go, and maybe in addressing this orgasm inequality gap that she puts forth. So possibility there is that regular weed users experience more sex. They have higher sexual frequency than non-weed users. Not surprising in my book, they just seem to be at that sort of thing more commonly, more frequently. But that's it in a nutshell, folks. I wanted to give the shorter version just so you guys could sort of see how cannabis and sex go together, apparently, in my opinion, hand in hand.